This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 385 for the week of Monday, September 14th, 2015. My name is Steve.
And my name is Ed.
And we're joined by our two awesome friends today. First, our special guest, the translator for One Piece from Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul.
Hey guys, great to be on. I am finally getting some much needed break time from my crazy work schedule. I would not be on with a non-manga week for the podcast, but I don't have anything else to do, so I'm just like, yeah, why don't I hang out with the guys?
Happy to have you here. And we also have the dude. Hey, the dude.
Hey Steve, how's it going?
It's going good.
Great, good to hear. To hear. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm glad to have you back on the show. It's been a while.
Yeah. So what do you say? What do you say we hijack this episode? Just you and me.
Oh yes, it was my plan all along. Zach, you were foolish to trust me to host the show.
Oh, Zach, you idiot! Now you will see what fruit that tree that you had planted hath wrought.
Yes, it's a very fruity. It's a fruity fruit that has rolled from the tree of your foolishness.
This podcast got weird quick.
Yes, it did. But it's our call-in episode. We haven't done one in a little bit of time. I forget. We
couple months.
Yeah, I think we did one at some point.
We've done one this year already, but yeah, I mean we have a week off from the manga, so. Yeah, on the verge of a massive chapter, and it's a good time to take questions.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect time for a call-in show, not just because we don't have a manga recap, but we're on the verge of such a ginormous chapter here that I think the fans have a lot of speculating, and I can only guess that they have a lot to pour out, and we'll find out when our lines are wide open, as.
We're also going to have an anime recap for episode 709 on this episode. And that's really about it. But Steve, you're going to Atlanta for Anime Weekend Atlanta at the end of this month, aren't you?
Yes. That weekend, I will be in Atlanta at Anime Weekend Atlanta. Yeah, I'll be an artist alley, and we're also doing a One Piece podcast panel. First one there in 2 years. We did one previously when Strong World premiered there. As far as I know, the lineup is going to be myself, Joey, and Jose. Doc will be around. Don't know his status. Zach, don't think he's going.
Oh.
Fun fact, Jose suggested he should take a bus. And we laughed and laughed and laughed.
I took a train from D.C. to Raleigh, North Carolina once. I wanted to blow my brains out.
It'd be worse on a bus, man. It's worse on a bus.
Oh, yes, it would. But speaking of Joey, he's also going to be at the Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland this coming weekend. So if you're in the DC area, come to SPX and buy some of his comics.
That's right. He's at table M13, and I'll be there. Me, Alex, the dude. I'll be there hanging out because I didn't get in this year. But you can find me at tables 89 and 90, hanging out with my pal Ross and my other pal Joe Hunter.
Yeah.
Systemcomic.com.
Awesome. That's really all we got for you. It's
we've got new episodes of OPP Dallas in the pipeline. They should be coming out in the middle future.
I think some people now are starting to get their copies of Season 7, Voyage 2. I got mine as soon as I said, I didn't get mine. And I watched it all. It's awesome.
It's like
maybe it'll happen Maybe it'll happen to me if I do that. I didn't get mine yet.
I want $1 million.
Well, it just materialized out of nowhere.
I'm on a toilet made out of solid gold, but it's just not in the cards now, is it?
Anyway,
it's okay.
That was
guys.
a bit that didn't quite work.
Yeah, it's okay. We could, if people start hating on us, we could always start a new life under the sea.
That's your solution to everything. To move under the sea. It's not going to happen.
Not with that attitude.
And with that,
attitude, let's start the podcast.
Sure.
This is the anime recap for episode 709, a decisive battle against the executives, Proud Hyrudin. And there's only 4 minutes, 30 seconds of recaps this week. That is not bad at all. Not bad. Mm-hmm. And we start off with Luffy being very angry, and I love the way they've been drawing Bellamy's destroyed face, like ever since the flashback ended, you know? It's really sort of, it looks like half the bone, his face is broken, you know?
He's just, his forehead is just like pounded in. He looks like a freaking caveman.
His teeth are all over the place.
Yeah. He looks how he feels.
He falls over. He can't even stand on his own anymore. He's being propped up by the strings, and Dofi gets really annoyed that Luffy won't finish Bellamy. So Dofi does this thing where he's like fucking with Bellamy's mind. So he says he sets him free. Mm-hmm. You've always been free. Mm-hmm. But now we get like a whole long, like a third of this episode is like this series of flashbacks with young Bellamy. Like,
I was so looking forward to this.
How did you end up liking it? Because we get like pint-sized young Bellamy who wants to follow Doflamingo, and he's idolized him since childhood.
Teenage Bellamy,
yeah. Even though he's from like the wealthy town of Nordis, he doesn't want the boring life. He isn't an idealist. He's not like those other pirates.
He's from the mean streets of Nordis, man. Yo, we were just hanging out at the beach club, and then some guys starting stuff, and in comes Zarkey's O'Mac, Sorry.
Confirmed dead now as well.
I feel like for that right there, since I'm still editing this episode, I want to just like add in the Mean Street Posse theme from wrestling. I'm like, because this was about like a page in the manga, and I was really happy to see this. I like getting to see like a younger version of the character meeting these influential people, like Doflamingo. Right. And
it's this kind of stretching out that I don't mind at all, because it provides extra, I don't want to say motivation, but it provides extra context, and it lets you sort of sit with the idea of Bellamy being a young guy and looking up to Doflamingo. You sort of sit with that, as opposed to like you read it on one page and you might gloss over it, you might go back to it a couple of times, but you don't really sit with the page and let the moment sink in. And that's actually something the anime does really well here. It annoys me in other places.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. But here it's good.
The heavy breathing a couple episodes ago. No, this one's great. I like Bellamy's moxie, how when Diamante like draws his sword and like kind of points at him, and Bellamy doesn't even blink, and he just has that huge shit-eating One Piece villain grin, and he's just like, I want to join you guys. I thought this was so great. I really like the scene. I liked it in the manga, and I think it's better in the anime, which is I don't hear myself saying that too often. And then we got some reanimation of.
But first, there's one rule: you can't be defeated to be part of. Like, you can fly his flag, but if you're defeated, it's like working for Bill Watts. If you get into a fight in a bar, you better win, otherwise you're fired.
Sorry, fans. That's a very obscure pro wrestling reference. Pretty much, you got to maintain the credibility of who you're involved with, and I like that Bellamy and his in I'll call them right here the teenage pirates, because they're like, oh, you're like the pride of the North Blue, and we're from the North Blue too. It's a great scene because all like the motivation gets across and the reasoning. It's a good scene. And the lighting's great too. It's kind of they're always kind of cast in these shadows because the light's coming from outside.
We go right from that scene to like, oh, you can't lose, and then we get straight to Luffy and Bellamy.
Yeah, we get some reanimation of some Jaya scenes. They look pretty good.
And different and they redid all the vocals for it, which is unfortunate, I think, because I think the reason is that these scenes are slightly more stretched out in the original anime for it. Mm-hmm. So there's a little more time to let the thing sink in. It's like, oh, where am I going? The sky. And there's like an extra beat. And like when he says so long, Straw Hat, and like it's like he draws out Straw Hat like longer in the original, and I just think it's a slightly stronger performance, but I really like Spring Hopper looks amazing reanimated. I love that.
That's pretty good. I think a lot of the frames were based on the manga panels, I would say. Mm-hmm. I remember it looking a lot more like the facial expressions in Oda style from that time. Just really great stuff. And of course, like Jaya is a very beloved arc amongst this podcast, and it was great to see that. Gone are the days of just throwing in the old SD episodes and putting in a bad, map border on the left and the right.
Pillar boxes is what they're called.
This was great. And then we come back to the present.
The present slightly in the past with the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We get more of that.
Yeah, because we get the scene again with Bellamy telling Luffy how he's okay with him now, basically. Mm-hmm. I lost all my crew on Sky Island. That's got to mess with a guy,
It seems like it hasn't bothered Bellamy too much. I think Bellamy's motivation has always been impressing Doflamingo. And it's kind of weird because these are, his crew or like his friends from his hometown. It kind of just shows, what matters.
How warped he's become,
Yeah. Yeah, and then like also, of course, then we see after Bellamy lost in Block B and how it's like, why would you cheer for me? We get freaking Dellinger again. I think another reason why I like this episode is to see Dellinger. And I forgot how good his voice actor is.
Is it a man or a woman? I don't know.
It's a guy.
Okay.
Then we get to Doflamingo wants me to kill Straw Hat Luffy. And then the Dellinger scene, and then we get Bellamy confronting Doflamingo at the palace. And I really appreciate all these clips because it really has been a long while since this stuff has happened in the anime. So I kind of appreciate it. It's not like this happened an episode ago, and we have to play the whole scene out again. And One Piece has done that before.
But that is not this day.
No, and then we get back. Now we're back to the present with Bellamy kind of picking himself up.
Well, there's also the bit with there's no hope for Bellamy. Bellamy, he just wanted to be a pirate. Doflamingo's ambition is different. He doesn't want to be a pirate. He wants to destroy the world. So there was never. I feel like Dofi was saying you were never going to get my respect. Doflamingo respected little 8-year-old Law more than he ever respected Bellamy at all. For his beliefs, like Law's beliefs as a child, I'm going to destroy the world. I'm going to destroy everything. That's a kid Doflamingo can get behind. This punk ass Bellamy with humble ambitions of just being a pirate that's not Doflamingo he likes the grandiose. He wants people to have, I guess think bigger. Destroy the world. But we get back to the present, and Bellamy doesn't want Luffy to save him. He wants to basically go down in a blaze of glory and demonstrate that his loyalty to Doflamingo even to the end. But it also shows that he really hasn't evolved skill-wise since the last time they fought. He's just stronger, not smarter. But he's going to go all out with his Spring Hopper technique. And that takes us to the ad break, and we come back. With that not resolved, we go back to the Pika face, and Dellinger is hopping mad.
Yeah. It was pretty much the equivalent of like, hey, watch where you're going. Sorry, I kind of refound my love for Dellinger because a friend of mine, remember those buttons? I think maybe it was from Akino or something, where they made of all the characters and stuff, like so many characters. I got like 10 of those when I was home in Chicago because I bought Japanese volumes for like Dude and Alex and for Dude and Zach and myself. So I have like 8 of them here. A good friend of mine I think he was at Kino, and they just had a box and was like, hey, do you want any of these? We're kind of just giving them for free. And he was just getting all the One Piece ones, and he's like, oh, hey guys, I do have some extras. And we were over at his place, and so if I want some, I got Gladius, I got Dellinger, and I was like ready to push people out of the way. I'm like, give me that. So I have I have a piece of Dellinger merch now. I feel like I should add, and I love it.
Thanks. Oh, and so Idio tries to punch Dellinger, and that's really all that happens there. Mm-hmm. The courtship of Sai and Baby 5 gets even more ridiculous in this episode.
We'll track that. I like the little like the flashback panels behind them, but I felt like maybe you should have just like they should have just did like a different tone, like not necessarily like sepia tone, but like just add like a color to them because it kind of looked weird. Where it's like they were the same color as like as the present, so it looked a little weird. But I mean I still understood it, so I guess I can't really complain.
And then just say that you love her, man. Come on. I want these kids to succeed. I want them to get better. She just wants someone to need her. But we're gonna get more. Was that next week? Next week's episode with the Psy and Baby 5.
Yes.
All right. So we'll cover that more next week. Baby 5 is a ridiculous but also amazing character. Mm-hmm. So back to the Hyruden Monkvice fight, and the impacts on Hyruden seemed a lot more painful this week.
Yep, they were. I mean, he had the instant bruising to show that.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was more speed to it. There was more impact. Seems more painful. Mm-hmm. But, it's still not great. But you see Monkvice take out Hyruden a couple of times. And you're going to move on to the next opponent, Zoro, because Zoro's trying to get it back up to the Pika face. And these cheap-ass schmucks who are taunting Hyruden while he has his little crisis of conscience about, like, you failed in the Colosseum, you haven't paid back your debt, you're never going to be king of the giants, why am I even still alive? Like, he's having a major existential crisis here, because he's supposed to be this, he's a giant of Elbaf, he's not supposed to be taken down like this, he has pride, but, he's got to stand up for himself.
So he does, just barely. As Monkvice comes down with how many tons does he weigh at this point? Or I don't know. He weighs how much is the attack? Monkvice, I feel like Oda kind of messed up and like, oh, I gave him the same powers as Miss Valentine. I just won't address it ever.
Well, he does kind of look like the Marius, the raccoon suit.
Tanuki.
Right. But we get the Gungnir, the Spear of Odin.
I wield the Spear of Odin.
Anthony Hopkins. It is pretty badass. I mean, but look at all his broken bones, and you got to wonder how he's ever gonna walk again at this point.
Only in One Piece where can a character's bones just shatter, and then they'll be fine. It
happened to Spondum.
Happened to Usopp's like skull.
Happens to Usopp more than anyone, I think.
Yeah. He just connects with his big fist, and
there was something here that was very interesting to me, and I don't know if you noticed this too, but he says, "Fly away to the kingdom of the gods." I wonder what that means.
I was thinking of freaking Thor. Where's Thor from? Or like Asgard or Valhalla, something
right.
Something Viking-esque.
But we have this thing, we have a loose theory that the third ancient weapon, the Uranus, has to do with Elbaf, and it comes from the sky. We think that's part of the One Piece connection article that Zach wrote. But those are just more loose conspiracies than anything supported. But Earth, air, sea, so it makes sense that the last would come from the air, from space. But the birdcage was not good for Monkvice. So he cannot fly like a bird. He gets sliced on the birdcage, and I like Zoro's sort of nonchalant. It's like, huh. Or was that Hyruden?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he can't fly like a bird. I think it might have been Hyruden.
Oh yeah, it was Hyruden. Yeah.
But so Hyruden collapses onto himself, and Zoro guarantees like this real badass moment that the cage will be gone when he wakes up. Just take a rest, man, like a badass, like a boss, and that's where we end the episode.
Fantastic episode.
It was definitely very good. It wasn't like in my pantheon of like great episodes, but it's a solid episode. I wish the anime would be like this every week. I would enjoy it a lot.
I think maybe because the last two episodes have been real bummers. I think I just really like this one, and it was great. It did a fantastic job getting across character motivation.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we forgot to mention that Bellamy started his spring hopper once again.
I think I mentioned that. It was right before the ad break.
Okay, I feel like it got a little.
And it was sort of left unresolved when we came back.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what we're gonna.
It's like,
I assume,
no, Bellamy, what are you doing?
Right, because if this pattern holds true, they're gonna do Bellamy and Luffy stuff and Doflamingo stuff in the first half of next week's episode, and then whatever Sai and Baby 5 stuff like they showed in the preview after that. Mm-hmm. But who knows? I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, but there actually isn't that much more I have to say about it. We sort of discussed it.
I really like this one. I thought it was good. It was good looking. The animation was great. I think next week's is going to look better, judging from those scenes. I don't know. I've always liked the Bellamy character, so I really like the revisiting of Jaya, but it was just handled very well. It was paced very well. I mean, it's based off of the content from the manga, of course, but I think it did a fantastic job.
Yeah, the anime doesn't always improve on the manga, but I think it took some slower material and really, put some zip into it.
Yeah, it's one of those rare cases that, the anime, like, I wouldn't say did a better job, but just, like, took it and made it even better.
Right.
And it's nice to feel that coming off of an anime episode, because you know how our deal is. But I've been very happy with it, and I'm hoping that these future episodes hold up as well.
Indeed.
Well, that about does it for our anime recap. Ed, why don't we get into our call-in show / Piece Together segment?
Yes, big Piece Together call-in show this week. Let's do it.
This is our Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories, and we're also taking your calls today. We're going to start with Reddit.
Alrighty. Our first question comes from a Jedi with no name.
All right.
And he's wondering, where's Poochie?
Where is Poochie?
He's on his home planet, like he said. All right, well, no, he died on the way back to his home planet. So.
He's somewhere in space, floating. His body's undiscovered.
But we should always be talking about Poochie. Don't forget that.
Yeah. It's like some alternate universe where Poochie, like, floating through space is like the thing at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey in another dimension. And that would be weird.
But the space Poochie, just a giant baby Poochie.
So, like, I would like to thank for that question. Thank you.
Yes. Next question. Yeah. The next question comes from Nerdy Perkins, who asks, do you guys think that we could see the Tontatas riding inside of Franky as a battle mech? It would lead to a cool fight between him and Capone.
Nice.
That would be pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, they are small enough to make that work. And also, I think Franky could make himself bigger. And also, there's also the General Franky, too. So
yeah, I wouldn't want to be a part of the Speedo battalion, though.
What's the matter, Steve? Is your bathing suit area not neatly trimmed as it should be?
Sounds like a sweaty situation.
I'm talking about Franky, not me. I don't want
okay.
I don't want the Tontatas inside me.
Well, no, then you'd be Richard Gere.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
His name isn't Leo, it's Lemmy Winks. Anyway,
the more you know.
Next question comes from Wonka355, and he asks, "Sup guys, love the show, keep up the great work. Question: how do you see the Reverie playing out? Personally, I see it going one of two ways. It's just a few chapters detailing who will be there and what will be discussed, similar to the meeting just before Sky Island. Then we find out the ultimate outcome later. Or two, it will be a full-on arc completely removed from the Straw Hats. Dragon will show up, maybe we will get Bartholomew Kuma's backstory, more hints at the Void Century, or whatever Doflamingo was talking about. The Reverie has certainly had plenty of build-up with all the kingdoms we've seen, and the corruption of the world government, the proposal to migrate the fishmen to the surface, and the removal of the Shichibukai system."
There's no chance the Straw Hats will not be involved in this. They passed Marie Joie, which I can only assume that's where it's taking place. So I don't know, but to have a big arc with no Straw Hats whatsoever, yeah,
that's why I don't think it'll be a full arc. I mean, it might be like 2-3 chapters or so, but I don't think that they could possibly do, unless there's some more like sort of Oda, like Bartholomew Kuma, like paw powers, teleportation involved. Like I don't see how the Straw Hats will be physically involved with that. But I could definitely see, something like those scenes like in volume 25 where it's like the the 5 elder stars, like council type meetings, or when they call people together, where it's just like a really cool scene or a set of scenes. But I don't think it'll be like Shabandi or something where it's like a full arc of crazy stuff, because I just don't see how that fits together.
Right. And I don't think it's the place to have a gigantic battle either.
Right.
It seems like the people there are like they value the fighting being done away from them. I don't think they're going to invite like a battle onto their doorstep, and I don't think the Straw Hats are going to siege Mary Joa if the Reverie is happening anytime soon. It doesn't make sense for them to be there, because they're going to have lots of allies who aren't necessarily fighters there, in the form of the Neptune family and Vivi and the Riku family.
Right.
Although I wonder, is Dressrosa still going to be part of the world government after this happens?
That's a good question.
And represent the Sky of Garbage Kingdom. It's it's King Riku.
Yeah, that's another question. What's going to happen to that garbage? You're going to make another island out of it? Going to expand the island?
I like to see Fujitora just forget and be like, and just drop it and be like, whoops.
Admiral Toriyama.
All right. Speaking of which, we're getting in a call.
Alrighty.
All right.
You're on the. Oh my God! There's two of me.
Oh, damn it! Sorry about that.
Damn it all.
That's all right. You're on the One Piece
right,
podcast. What's your name and where you're
how's it going,
calling
guys?
from?
It's me, Dark Leviathan.
Hello.
Thank you.
I was calling to with a what's it called? With a theory. Since we got what's it called? In the recent chapter, we got a new alliance with Straw Hats. Do you think that at the end of the series, they're going to have around 80,000 men on their banner?
It's a very specific number.
Well, it's what Usopp always would say, right?
Oh, wow, you're right.
Bingo.
Yeah.
There you go. It kind of, it makes sense, because all of Usopp's, like, a lot of Usopp's other lies have come true. And
I guess this one is inevitable, but man, what were we at? Like, is it 5,600 altogether?
Yeah,
after the
something like that.
Yeah, we got a lot more to go. Because he bumped it up to 80,000, right? It was originally 8,000.
Yeah,
Or was
it was already no. Yeah, I think it was 8,000.
I guess we got a lot more characters.
Yeah, we do have more to go, but I would love to see a scene where, because obviously it's not going to be like they're not following Usopp, they're following Luffy, but I would love to see a scene where like Usopp just like takes over the mic, and no one else is there to give orders, so like that's when he really gives in and like indulges the dream.
But he has like the ability to fall ass backwards into situations like this, as we saw with God Usopp.
Yeah, it's kind of like Buggy.
Right. Yeah, totally.
And I also see, I think Luffy would probably gain an alliance from the people of Wano eventually at the end of the next, saga in 2.5 years. Because, I don't think we're going to have a series written by a Japanese author where the Japanese analog, country is joining the bad guys. That's just my first.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing that what I'm thinking is that maybe each Straw Hat will bring some kind of group under their banner for the whole crew. Like Usopp could be something from Elbaf and the Tontaras at the same time.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me about that is like how long that would actually take to do in story for each one of the crew members to do that, and I just don't know if Oda has like the time. I don't know if the time is the right word.
Well, I think you also you got to look back at past characters too, like maybe Sanji's relationship with the newcomer.
Right.
Bring those guys in, gals, whatever they want to be called.
Also the guys from Baratier.
I don't see the Baratier getting involved in a war.
Yeah, I don't know if I see people from East Blue leaving East Blue.
Nah, it's all.
But I could see the past figures, especially like some of the people that they trained with during the 2-year time skip. Like they just kind of show up at when they need them, kind of thing. Like, oh hey, it's Heracles, and
or especially
or something like that.
Like Haridas, they can fly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Dark Leviathan, I'd like to thank you for being our first caller.
Cool.
All right, man.
Thanks for such a good show, guys. Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
I'll take all the credit now because I'm hosting. All right. Thanks, man.
All right, no problem. See you.
We got another call coming in. Oh, yeah, this person.
Great.
All right.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Jonathan in Augusta, Georgia.
Hey, how you doing? Is that anywhere near?
I'm doing all right.
Anywhere near Atlanta?
About 2 hours out of Atlanta.
Just curious if you'd be going to AWA next weekend.
I'm not, but my roommate is.
Cool. Your roommate's cool with us. So what?
I'll be going around handing out business cards. So,
so why are you calling? What's up?
I was just thinking, my friend and I have this theory that there seems to be a general speculation that the next admiral, Ryokugyu, is probably going to be a caricature of Toshiro Mifune. And we're thinking if that is the case, we were wondering, we have this theory that he might have like some plant-based or wood power based on his role from Yojimbo and Sanjuro, because there's that scene when we in particular were thinking he may have like a habit of penchant for eating mulberries in particular, because he looks out into the field and says his name is Sanjuro, and he says his name is whatever the Japanese word for mulberries is. So we're thinking that he may, if he is a reference, if he's a character of Toshiro Mifune, and we're wondering, do you think that'd be what do you guys think?
That's I'm passing this to Steven. I feel like Steven's speaking your language. He's the only one that can speak your language.
I do think that's a good guess as far as which person, like which actor would be. Unfortunately, I don't know his stuff too well. I mean, I think it would be like thematically perfect to have Ryokugyu come in during the Wano arc, since we just had Fujitora, and presumably he's not just going to be jumping with them to the next story arc. So it would make sense for him to then go to the other new admiral, and having him tie into the samurai stuff would make sense. But on the other hand, it's like Fujitora was already like a swordsman himself, like with his gravity sword powers. So that's like the other thing is like, well, would it be playing it too close to do Zatoichi the blind swordsman and then go to another swordsman? But I mean, he could. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, I know he's got an idea about it already, because obviously that's how he's been rolling with these admirals.
I gotta be honest. This is the wrong person. None of us are the right person to have this conversation.
Yeah,
with.
Joey.
But the right person. Yeah, Joey's going to be at AWA. Your friend should totally go to our panel and ask him about it, because he'd probably be really excited to hear that.
Yeah.
That theory.
Miss him by a week.
I think it'd be really funny if Oda mixed it up, and since everybody would be thinking that he'd do Mifune, he would do Lee Marvin instead. Mifune and Lee Marvin were in this movie called Hell on the Pacific, which I highly recommend. But I think it'd be really funny if Ryokugyu ended up being just an old white dude.
Well, do you know that Oda collects figures of Western, celebrities?
And there's still a thought. Oh yeah,
that would be amazing.
And there's also some thought that it might already be an existing character, but who knows?
I doubt it.
Well, Greg had that theory about Vice Admiral Strawberry being an admiral. That was like 2-3 years ago at this point.
Oh, that long? Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah.
It was like two New Year's shows ago. It was like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Jeez, Dressrosa is long. Well, dude, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care.
Right on.
All right, and we're gonna go right into another call, guys.
Sweet.
All right.
Keep coming.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Shades, and I'm from the Netherlands.
Nice.
Right on.
Nice. Thank you for calling.
Howdy.
It's really late out here. It's like 1:38 a.m. I stayed up the call.
Wow. Holy crap.
Thanks, man.
Well, welcome.
We're only taking one answer questions, though. One word answer questions. No,
That's not true at all.
No.
What's your question?
My question was, what Yonko do you think will be taken out first?
Ooh, that is a good question.
It depends on if the Yonko are actually going to get taken out. Now hear me out.
What do you mean? Yeah, what does that mean?
It's not like Luffy's it's not like Luffy's MO to not complete a task he sets himself out to do.
No, but here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. All right? Here's what I'm thinking. So I'm in the camp that Lola's mom is Big Mom, and that she'll eventually just become an ally.
I have that feeling too.
Yeah, and Kaido, we haven't seen much of him, but I don't know. So there's something since this is just complete speculation. Like, what if Kaido's not such a bad dude, and he
wants to unleash a war, though.
Yeah,
a war only because he can't die, so he wants to destroy the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he would eventually die. The point is that he dies at the end, I think.
Well, yeah. In that case,
he might be, if he's a devil fruit user, which I'm certain he is. Maybe he's the first character to drown.
I mean,
I feel like you would have thought of that.
Yeah.
So,
I think if he does have dragon powers, then that makes it a lot harder because he can just fly away if he gets knocked over the water or something. But
like your powers immediately, you become frozen stiff, like right from the get go. You're paralyzed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The only person that has an answer to this question is Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. That doesn't answer anything.
I think it'll be Kaido.
I'm gonna go with
either Kaido or Shanks.
But isn't Kaido is hyped up to be like one of the strongest creatures, so it wouldn't be bad if he got taken out first because he set the bar so high.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know about that because he doesn't seem to have any. Well, we don't know much about him yet, but he doesn't seem to have any particular goal or ambition that he's going for, other than to die at this point. So it makes more sense to me that he would end up being the first one to die because he doesn't have that grander purpose except to start a war that would end the world so he can die. And I mean, I feel like Shanks and we don't know much about Big Mom either. But I think Shanks in particular and Blackbeard are going to be the two who last to the end of the series. I don't think Shanks is going down until Luffy meets with him. And I don't think that's going to happen for a while.
And we're also in the later half of the series, so these big characters are gonna start to fall because One Piece isn't a spring chicken anymore. It's a grizzled veteran.
Yeah. I was going through some quotes from Oda interviews earlier today, and I was looking at a thread on the One Piece subreddit, and they were talking about Luffy's mom. But I ended up looking at a bunch of quotes from Oda interviews, and he says, how long would One Piece be if I decided to put everything in it that I wanted to put in it? It would probably take about 20 years, and I have a feeling he might go over that.
Damn. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, thank you for staying up late and giving us a call. Hope
no problem, man. I really love the podcast.
Thank you, dude.
Good work.
Thanks, man.
It's nice to know there are people listening all over the world.
Yep. Now get some sleep.
Yep. All right.
Have a good one.
You have another one coming in, or are we gonna go back to Reddit?
Not at the moment. So let's go to Reddit, and I'm sure as soon as I'm gonna finish this sentence, someone else will call. Nope. Okay. Nope. Go for it.
Right. Orange Shades asks, "Hey guys, Orange Shades again."
Oh, hey, Orange Shades.
Again.
Everyone, I know from listening that everyone on the podcast is pretty excited for the Armada and what this means for the end game story. You all posited at one point or another that this is the logical next step for the story. I've also heard many fans say that Luffy would be unable to beat the Yonko without a fleet or Armada. I have to say, when I read comments like these, I get kind of ticked off. It makes me think of all the times Luffy has told people that he won't go on anyone else's adventure, and he's going to do things his way. To me, the future Pirate King shouldn't have to have a fleet to be the Pirate King. I read this chapter with the 7 captains of the Armada and just feel that it's not what Luffy would do. While it's Oda's story and he can and will do what he wants, I think I would be disappointed if he went down the somewhat obvious route of a Straw Hat fleet. I'm much more interested in a story where Luffy and the main crew find their own way and do their own thing, rather than follow the established order. That's my comment on the Alliance. Sorry, guys, but I just couldn't keep the word count down. Here's a question, though. If the Straw Hats were cars, what kind of car would they... All right, let's answer his first question first and get...
Boo!
Actually, then we'll get back to that sometime. I think we got another call coming in.
All right.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Sai.
Hi, Sai.
It's Sai.
It's just Sai, guys.
Calm down.
How's it going, Sai?
Hey.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
Right on. What's your question for us?
If you could take any One Piece character besides Luffy and make them the protagonist of any anime genre, what would it be, and what would it be about?
I see Nami as the villain of the student council in like a sort of a slice of life and teen comedy anime. You know what I mean? She could be like the mean girl
or something.
Yeah.
I was originally going to say Zoro in like a samurai anime like Rurouni Kenshin, but I thought, no, it'd be so much better if he was just in an adventure show, like where they had to walk. Like
no.
Put him in Pokemon. It'd be awesome.
He would have
He'd never finish.
He would always wind up back in Pallet Town.
It'd be like Twitch plays Zoro. He's just wandering around.
All right.
Steve kind of stole mine.
Oh damn.
Well, at first, I mean, I would actually love to see Zoro in a somewhat serious samurai anime, but not like Kenshin. More like something along the lines of like a caller who just mentioned Sanjuro or Yojimbo, like just a traveling samurai who's just sort of sleepy and just does whatever because he needs money and has a moral code.
He always winds up in the same town. He never leaves. I would see Frankie as Mekazawa in Cromartie High School. Just have him be the random robot student. I would say that, or just put him in some sort of, of course, a giant robot anime. Maybe something not Guy Next because I don't want to feel bad about myself.
No. Put Brooke in Attack on Titan as one of the Titans, and I would watch it.
It would be.
That'd be terrifying.
Oh my god, he'd just be going around laughing the entire time and eating people.
Yeah,
I'd
love to see. And like, can skeletons poop? And actually, the Titans Attack on Titan don't poop.
They don't.
So it would be the opposite.
You asked this question. You have to be prepared to answer it, right?
Wait, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can ask a question, you should be able to answer it yourself.
I was being Sanji in like an Oran kind of setting.
Yeah.
Sanji would be a good cast member in Oran. He'd fit right in.
Yeah, he would.
That's
until Haruhi punched him.
What was that?
Until Haruhi punched him.
Yeah.
I could actually see him being like a supporting character in Utena. Actually, if people watch that show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Would he turn into a car too?
Cavendish in that too.
Yeah, the roses. My God, you're right.
Yeah, Cavendish is basically straight out of Utena.
Yeah. I think those are some of the best.
Anyone else? Does anyone have anyone for Robin?
You could choose anyone outside of the Straw Hats too.
You know how many characters there are on One Piece?
Yeah.
George Bush was their neighbor. No, that's a different series.
Django and Full Body would be the stars of an anime that revolves around playing like a Dance Dance Revolution type game. Because I'm sure that has not been. I'm pretty sure there's not an anime about that yet, but I could see that would have been a thing when DDR was super popular years ago.
I think Robin could be in an Urasawa manga. She's basically Master Keaton already. She's like the archaeologist who goes around solving historical mysteries. So it seems like a pretty good fit.
What about Chopper?
Oh man, he would be in I don't know.
I want to see Chopper. I don't know if they have these in Japan, but kind of like the live action kid shows with people in costumes. Like
why would you want to see that?
Because it would be funny just to see. It's not like
for like a second.
It's like, oh man, this is awesome. Did you get season 2 yet on Blu-ray? It's fantastic. They solve math problems.
It could be like
what like like a puppet show.
It could be like the pet in a Pretty Cure show. Although to be fair, I've never watched any Pretty Cure and I don't really know what it is except for looking at pictures.
Is it Pretty Cure?
I shut up. No.
All right.
No, Sengoku plays the Sir Topham Hat role in a Thomas the Tank Engine-esque.
That doesn't even insult me because that's what I want.
I know. I know. I was playing to your.
I want all the One Piece characters as model trains with faces, and they just and they accidentally get tricked by cars, or they're not welcome at the turntable. That's what I want.
So is Sengoku, is he going to be like, or is Garp going to be like the George Carlin or Ringo Starr of that Thomas?
Yes. And he just punches kids when they're not listening to his stories.
Right, correct.
Just as long as Sengoku is Sir Topham Hat. That's all I want.
That's all he wants. That's all he gives.
But like Ed Blaylock as Sir Topham. It's this really long story, and Alex never lets it go.
No, because it's the funniest thing ever. One day we'll talk about it.
If only we had an outlet to do that.
Yeah, if only we had a separate podcast.
If only. All right, I think that about does it.
Thanks for calling in. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for the call.
No problem, dudes. I'd say happy holidays, but there actually aren't any holidays this time. So
actually, it's a Jewish one.
It's Rosh Hashanah. It's the Happy New Year for the Jews.
So
yeah, which is why Zach's not here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so happy that holiday.
Spoken like a true Texan, Si.
Thanks for coming on.
No. Okay. Adios.
Take care. See you online.
Alrighty.
All right. So we're
back to Orange Shade's dissatisfaction with the Luffy Armada. Dude had something to say about that.
Boo! Boo!
Was that it?
Boo! Boo!
Boo! He was your one true love. I still think Luffy's gonna say no.
No.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like, oh hell.
No.
It's not going to stop.
Luffy says no. Even if Luffy says no, everybody else will be like, "Are you nuts? No, this is happening."
Yeah,
like
pretty
there's
much.
no way this isn't going to happen, regardless if Luffy wants it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening.
Yeah.
This is I meant to say this last week, but I wasn't on the podcast. This is sort of in regards to the same thing, sort of. That particular part in the chapter where Bartolomeo is like, "Oh, wait till you see my ship. I think you're gonna freak." I'm pretty sure he built a scale copy of the Going Merry or salvaged it or something.
That'd be creepy.
Oh, that'd be. I don't know. I like the theory of the bronze statue of Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be something that only the hardcore superfans know about Luffy. That his secret desire is to have a bronze statue made of himself.
And as we discussed, we're not sure if they really know what. If it's publicly known what the Straw Hat ship looks like. And, okay, what kind of cars are they? I already know what kind of trains they'd be, but what kind of cars would they be?
Frankie would be a forklift.
I would think he'd be a Hummer. Even though I don't even think
the original Hummer?
Anymore. No, like the crappy gas-guzzling Hummers that people...
Why not a monster? No.
a monster truck.
Brooke would be a monster truck. He'd be Gravedigger.
Really? I would think... Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I'd see Brooke more as an El Camino.
I think that first appearance that Frankie had after the time skip where he was fucking enormous, that was when he was the Canyonero, definitely.
Yeah. Ooh, no.
Can
Wait,
you name the Frank with four-wheel drive? Smells like a steak.
Smells like a steak in seats 35.
Frankyonero. Frankyonero.
Write that one down, Steve.
Brooks actually got to be a caddy. He's got to be a Cadillac.
Yeah,
like a big old funky purple Cadillac.
Brooke just has to be something with class, definitely.
Zoro would be a car with a broken GPS.
What kind do you think Luffy would be? What do you think?
Like a go-kart.
Yeah, go-kart.
Sanji would be like a Mazda Miata.
I think
an automatic Miata.
I could see Usopp being like a dune buggy or like a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
Usopp would be like a Mad Max car on the outside, and on the inside it's just like a Fiat or something. He's just a wuss trying to project himself.
Daewoo.
Robin drives the mystery machine. Because that's like basically her role in the story. She drives the mystery machine.
Nami, do we have one for Nami?
I think Nami would be like a Hyundai Azera, just a really nice high end, like sports car.
Chopper,
but not like
nothing
too expensive.
Chopper would be a bumper car.
No, Chopper would be like one of those. No, Chopper would be like one of those Chevy Avalanche, the hybrid that can change in from an SUV to a truck.
Oh yeah. See, I thought you were gonna say he'd be a bumper because his bounty's so low. It would be a car. He'd just be a bumper.
You're not even the car.
He's that Fisher Price car that you use your feet to drive.
He's the Power Wheels.
He's the red van with yellow roof.
Exactly.
No, he's just a set of truck nuts.
Oh God.
He's the Straw Hat's pet. So like
that's where they went.
Everybody else. So yeah, what would be the pet to a car? Either the fuzzy dice hanging from the mirror.
Yes, fuzzy dice. That's much better.
There we go.
Oh man, that's good. Any other characters? Anyone thought of?
I think we named all the Straw Hats.
Jinbei's like the amphibious car that you can drive it into the lake.
Yes,
like
you go on tours.
That was from what? The Spy Who Loved Me.
No, that's the Lotus Esprit. That's a fucking awesome car. No, Jinbei's too chunky to be that. I think he means like one of the duck boats that they take like duck tours on. Like,
that's actually it for the Reddit questions.
Cool.
Do you have any email questions?
Yeah, we got a bunch. Let me get those.
Email.
Yes.
Our first one here is this one's from Sahid Mer. Sorry if I butchered your name. You say, hello there, One Piece podcast. In chapter 775 to Russian with Love, when Senor Pink mentions his wife Russian, Franky's intrigued about it. And at the end of their fight, Franky says to Senor Pink that they will meet up one day and talk about Russian. I believe this means that Franky has some sort of history with Russian, but we don't know what. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think the connection to Franky is? Let me be the first to say no.
No.
How do I break this to you? Russian, man, and I think I got some hate for this, and I'll say it again. Russian's a plot device.
Mm-hmm.
Russian... I have no connection with Senor Pink's flashback because I think it's all plot device. It's all just, I think it's a satire. You know, I didn't take it seriously back then.
Yeah, I think the thing with Franky is just that it's a kindred spirit thing.
Yeah.
Like they're both hard-boiled guys, and so he's just like, yeah, man, we'll share a drink someday. You could tell me all about her. You know, it's just basically like two rough and tumble guys being like bonding in the way that they do. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I don't think there's anything else to say.
Yeah, it's not like he would end up being Senor Pink's son or something, long lost stepson.
Yeah, it'd be...
Yeah, that's right. Franky is Gimlet.
I don't think that timeline matches up.
No, I think Senor Pink's only like about maybe like 10 years older than Franky.
If that.
I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, he's like in his 40s, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Franky's in his early 30s, mid 30s.
Let me reach for volume 74. I know
he's like 36 now. Franky was 34 before the time skip.
Come on, 74. Where does it list your ages? Because we could squash this right here and now.
This is a fine way to use airtime.
Indeed,
a lot of dead air. Taking too long. I don't care. All
right,
Russian doesn't matter. Moving on to this next question. This one's from William. Hey, William. You say, you guys mentioned in the last episode that you might talk about Season 7 Voyage 2 DVD, and I just got my copy, so I figured I'd share some of my thoughts on it. I think that's good, because we don't get a chance to talk about it too often. First of all, the episode where the Straw Hats disappear was amazing. Not only did it have great animation, music, and editing, but the acting of the English cast in the episode was some of the best the dub has churned out so far, in my opinion. Secondly, in the 2 Amazon Lily episodes we got, the mushroom joke and the, quote, family jewels joke was hilarious, but it was actually Sweet Pea's dub voice that nearly killed me laughing in those episodes.
Sweet Pea's the one that says chapter?
Yeah.
Yes.
She doesn't say it, though, in the dub.
Oh.
It's a difficult joke to get across.
Yeah.
It's a lot of words too.
I always thought, like, I didn't get to translate that part in the manga, but I always considered it to be like, it would, like, her comments would always be like, oh, it's the saga of blah, 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 blah. And I think if you repeated that often enough, it would make sense. But if you, like, the way they did it in the Viz manga, where it was just like chapter, blah, 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 I don't think it comes across. It's like, what does that mean?
You almost kind of want to say it like, oh, it's the mystery of the family jewels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe there could have been.
That's more Luffy's deal, really. The mystery.
He also adds, one thing that stuck out to me was on one of the commentary tracks that had Justin Cook on it. And we'll get to that in a second because we're getting a phone call.
Right on.
All right, you're on the One Piece podcast. Hey, what's your name?
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
This is Joshua Pong from One Piece.
Howdy.
Pongzilla on Twitter. Hi.
Yo.
So, okay, cool. I was weird. I didn't think I was actually get to you guys. So we have the monster trio being Sunny, Luffy, and Zoro. Doing the weekly trio of Chopper, Nami, and Usopp. What are the other three called? Do we have a name for them yet? So Robin, Frankie, and Brooke.
I always call them the parents.
The elderly?
What?
Yes.
The Golden Girls.
The elder trio. Thank you for being a friend.
They're like the senior citizens of the crew. They're there to keep everyone grounded and like. Although Frankie isn't very good at that.
Well,
neither is Brooke. Robin though.
Frankie and Robin are mommy and daddy, and Brooke is grandpa.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll feel like an intellectual trio because they're the smart ones of the group, I guess, kind of.
I think they're like the underrated trio because they're still good fighters, but they're not really looked upon as the fighters of the Straw Hats.
Okay. They have they have extremely vital skills that aren't necessarily fighting. With Robin's archaeology and Brooks a musician, but he's a famous musician. Like his fame is actually kind of an asset at this point.
Mm-hmm. Hasn't been used yet. I want to see it used more. And is that all?
Did you have anything else?
That was the only thing I could think of. Not really.
Well, I appreciate the call, though, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Cool.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, I'm not sure if I'll talk to him later. I usually say that because I don't like saying goodbye. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think a few of these people have called into the shows before. So.
Yeah, we get regulars.
We appreciate it. Back to this email, just talking about the rest of the latest DVD set. Justin Cook is on one of the commentary tracks. He briefly mentioned having previously voiced Bellamy and was disappointed that the character was now dead. Does he not know that Bellamy comes back? I think somebody better tell him so that he could prepare to voice him again in 2020 or whenever. Also on the subject of Bellamy, does anybody know if he got on board the Yanta Maria with the others? Well, I remember him at the house where the Straw Hats were hiding. I don't remember seeing him running with everyone during the last couple of chapters. And I definitely didn't see him anywhere in chapter 799 because I was looking for him while listening to you guys on the manga recap for that chapter. Do you think he'll show up on the ship in Chapter 800? I hope so, because I kind of like what's been going on with this character in this arc. First of all, I bet Justin probably knows, because some Bellamy merchandise has resurfaced. And this age of the internet, probably someone says oh, hey, Bellamy's back. Who's
guys,
that?
Bellamy.
None of you guys were there for that New York Comic Con that one year, but I remember that's when I met Justin Cook. And later in the night, when he was outside the bar, and I was leaving, getting into a taxi cab with Zach, and I was drunk. I remember just saying "Goodbye, Justin Cook. Can't wait to see you die," in reference to Bellamy. How foolish I was because Bellamy came back, and I think that was my first thought. And I'm like, ooh. Not that I told the person I can't wait to see you die, and if you saw that context, wow, that guy's an asshole.
What an asshole.
I mean, I would say I'm not a professional voice actor, but as someone who works on, anime series and properties and kind of understands the general flow of things, I imagine, if you're an actor, you get a part job on a long running series, and when you're done with it, then you're done, you're working on other things. You're not thinking about it, but it's still going on, kind of outside of your attention. And, you don't have time to keep up with the goings on of every story, everything that you've ever worked on. And so, I can totally believe that someone would, just not have known that, in the last year or two, some character came back because, he hasn't been getting calls from from Funimation about it or whatever. So
hold that thought, Steven, because we got another call.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, wait, hello? Oh, okay. This is Gideon, and I'm calling from California.
Thanks for calling. You called the right podcast, right? This is the One Piece podcast.
Yeah. This is the one. Oh, I didn't think you guys would pick up. Oh my god.
Oh, thanks for calling in, though, man. What's your question?
Pressure's on now, man.
First off, you guys have an awesome podcast. I really love to listen to it. Oh my god, OMG. Okay, but my question is, okay. So, what kind of story elements would you like to see One Piece expand on, or what kind of side stories would you like to see?
Well, we've done so much. The easy answer is Wano, just because I really want to see Oda's big tribute to the Japanese culture. Other than
I like that, but I also like the idea of doing the futuristic version of the One Piece world through the Vegapunk storyline, wherever that ends up going.
Sci-fi,
because I feel like it would be. I kind of want it to be something like the 1960 World's Fair vision of what it would be like in the year 2000.
Year 2000.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there was this really interesting podcast I listened to. God, it must have been 7-8 months ago. It's on Planet Money. It was on NPR, and they had a guidebook to the World's Fair in Queens, with all the futuristic stuff, like the video phone and the big globe that they had there, and all the futuristic stuff. So I feel like it would be retro futuristic kind of world that Vegapunk created.
I want to see Oda's version of the Carousel of Progress.
Right.
Any other elements? Steven, dude?
I don't know. It's hard to say, as far as true side stories, not things that the Straw Hats would go through and see, because he kind of does that already with the cover stories, and you get a lot of, it's kind of like anything you could say is relatively plausible just with the way that he constructs things. So, gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a really tough question. It's gotten to the point for me where it's really hard for me to think of, what I would want to see in One Piece, other than I want to see what Oda has in store for us. It's just that's the most exciting thing to me.
Sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a difficult question but I mean it's more about motifs for me. What kind of setting do I want to see in One Piece, as opposed to a story element? It's more what kind of island do I want them to go to next? And retrofuturism is kind of something I'm into right now.
Agreed. Well, thank you for calling in.
All right, thanks.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Bellamy?
Yeah.
Let's see. I do think someone had the idea the other week. I do think that having Bellamy join Law's crew is a really cool idea, as a way for him to stick around in the story and have some kind of ongoing thematic thing, because he does fit in. He's similar to Law. He was kind of he was jilted in a way by his connection to Doflamingo. I like that.
And actually, I was thinking of something people were saying that Luffy might reject the idea of an alliance and a fleet and things like that. But I feel like Bellamy might be the guy to convince him to do it if he is initially apprehensive about it, because he can talk about what Doflamingo meant to him, and he was betrayed by him, and he wants to believe in Luffy like that. I think that's an interesting conversation that could happen in the next chapter. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's a kind of a philosophical conversation that Luffy needs to confront. I don't know if he needs to think about his effect on other people, and what do other people rely on him, and what's the difference between he doesn't want to be a hero, he wants to be a pirate, because a hero has to share all the meat.
All right, moving on. We got this question from Zombie Aladdin. Poor Al. Hate to see that happen to the.
No,
Nice
Yeah, it's
guy.
like when Genie told him not to bring anyone back from the dead.
This is what happens, Al. Huh?
I don't like doing it.
They write, in the episode Pwn Gorilla, you guys dismissed the ink fruit as having little use. Have you guys realized what an inkling in Splatoon can do with such power set? I don't know. I've only played Splatoon for a day, and I haven't got the chance to play it. But
That's great.
I think I got a TV today. So
Actually, after it's funny you mentioned Splatoon. After this, I'm going to GameStop to trade it in.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of you guys are talking about.
Oh, they said they explained they can generate large amounts of ink to cover ground, walls, and ceiling, and hide inside of them to make themselves undetectable, even to radar, and can quickly scale walls by swimming through ink paths. They can also shoot someone to make them explode into more of that ink, which then could be used for more cover or scaling. This is a frightening set of abilities. Almost done. If you put that into One Piece world, not only would you could you be anywhere in that huge puddle of ink, no one can know where you are, but you can detonate people into more of your ink.
I've definitely seen Devil Fruit powers have more of a stretch than that, so that sounds about right.
What was the context of our ink comments? I don't remember this.
Is this Conjuro's fruit? I forget as well.
Maybe.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I just can't take ink powers seriously because all I think about when I see like someone's using an ink like as a defense mechanism is Zoidberg. But that's just my own bias. But I have a hard time taking ink powers seriously.
Moving on. This question is from Arthur New World, and he says, "Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to ask this." Well, let's find out if we could believe it. A question for each of you. What question about penises, among the many that have already been sent by fans, would you ask on the SBS? Thanks for the wonderful podcast. My answer, none.
Oh, come on, Steve. Don't be an idiot.
Okay.
Just...
What question? How does Brooke go?
Oh, I just got a little sad there.
How could Brooke ever love again?
When Smoker comes, is it smoke?
Wow.
The logistics of Logia orgasms.
See what you've done, Alex. See what. Well,
hold on. Done. Who's Steven? You're next.
I don't know. I can't come up with a question. I'm just imagining like Brooke making jokes where like he takes out one of his ribs and then sticks it down there and like talks about how he's got a boner or something.
My question to Oda would be as thus: Hi, Odachi. Here's a good question that nobody's ever asked you before. How many Gomu Gomus is your penis? Sincerely, Penis Q Penisworth, PhD.
Penis hot dick. That's what PhD stands for.
Penis hot dick.
Classy.
And then, of course, he'd be like, wow, that's a great question. Well, of course, you know that 72 Gomu Gomus equals 85 Merchant Gomu Gomus, and I would say that my penis is about 5.5 inches.
Oh, God.
Famous manga author Ichiro Oda was arrested today for just saying something lewd in a children's comic.
I'm sure
people would say that's disrespect.
He is placed in the same jail cell as the former voice actor of Emporio Ivankov, who tattooed his anus.
And what was his name? Newscaster guy?
I don't know.
He ran a picture of his tattooed.
I think his name was Imamura. I forget the rest of his name.
That's a very interesting story. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, like Google that. I mean, don't Google the images. No, just Google.
And also, if you don't read the SPSs and you think we're being like disrespectful to Oda, he has said much worse things in the SPS.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I wouldn't engage that kind of question about any other author except for Oda.
Pretty much.
All right. Our next question is from Oliver J. He says, "Hi everyone. I've seen a lot of discussions about the 7 representatives. I've seen Some people comparing them to Whitebeard's commanders like Ace and Thatch, or Whitebeard's allies like Oars Jr. and Squardo. Personally, I think they'll be more like a middle ground between the two. Whitebeard's allies had their own crews, their own captains, their own flags, etc., and almost certainly didn't have a numbered order. They weren't a part of the Whitebeard crew, even if they were a part of his family. Whitebeard's commanders all flew the Whitebeard flag and had Whitebeard as the captain. These crews that are swearing loyalty to Luffy are keeping their individual identities. Their captain, their crew names, their flags, but they're giving themselves a numbered order, and they seem to be asking to become subordinates of Luffy rather than allies. To simplify it, Whitebeard commanders flew the Whitebeard flag, Whitebeard allies flew their own flag, while I feel these crews would fly both their own flags and the Straw Hat flag. Thoughts?
It's kind of in between, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't there isn't a commander structure. Well, they have their own crew, like they do in the Whitebeard crew. But I think it's more like Squardo and the DeKalb brothers and Whitey Bay, the Ice Witch. Because the rankings don't mean anything. Although with Whitebeard's crew, they didn't really mean anything either.
All I will say is look forward to get clarification on this issue next week. That's all I'll
say. Okay.
Oh,
nice. Were there any more emails, Steve?
No, that's good to do it. The last one was only if Brian is on. It's a follow-up about POPs.
Well, maybe next week.
Oh, I see.
Oh, why?
Wait, what?
It's because I said like an easier question to ask Brian would be what POPs does he not have, and that's exactly what they asked.
Right.
Oh, okay.
What's your favorite?
If anybody is listening, by the way, I'm thinking of selling my POPs. So
what?
Yeah, PM me.
Why?
Because
Dude, exclamation on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. PM me. I might sell some of my POPs. So
I thought you said all of them. I was gonna be like,
I might sell all of them. I don't know.
What?
They're just sitting collecting dust, and all I do is I look at them sometimes, and then I dust them every couple months. It's like, what are they even doing?
No.
Steve, I think it's that time.
It's time to cry. No, it's time to dust
time
those
to die.
time to dust those POPs. Clearly, I don't know the answer. I think Ed.
Time to piece the tweet.
God damn it.
That's right. Piece the tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, like
right.
Ed, you shouldn't have been the one asking that.
Yeah.
You're tired.
Usually sets it up. All right. The first question this week is from Illusion Devil Fruit, and he asks, do you guys think Fujitora thinks Luffy is a giant since he only attacked him with Gear 3rd? Also, what about Ushi? Is he coming?
Ooh.
Moosey.
And there's another question from Alice Wonder, who asks if Moosey gets a cover story next.
Oh.
I feel like it's not.
Moosey.
I feel like we're not going to see him much. I don't know if we're going to get that resolution. No, because maybe he'd be like the royal pet bull. I think he gets a nice retirement after being a gladiator.
Why do I feel like Luffy's gonna has totally forgot about Moosey, and then they set sail, and then Moosey goes to the shore, he's like, and then you get like the whole Castaway thing with Tom Hanks and
Wilson.
And Wilson, like, Moosey, I'm sorry.
Back to the semi-serious question about Fujitora thinking Luffy's a giant because he only attacked him with Gear 3rd. I don't think that's necessarily true, because I feel like he used just Gear 2nd attacks on him.
Yeah, I think that's a funny idea, like the image that Fujitora would think that, but he's also he's got those blind senses, like he can sense their auras, so I think he would be able to tell that Luffy was normal sized.
I think he also has hockey as well, so who knows what exactly you can sense from that. But I think you can be able to tell
thing, right?
Right. But the other question from Alice Wonder was, if the fruit Momonosuke ate is based on Kaido's fruit, does that mean Kaido will also be a pink dragon? Like Momonosuke's fruit was I guess they're trying to directly replicate Kaido's fruit, and ended up with what they did.
Well, all dragons are pink, so
I don't know. I don't know if Oda would go with such a badass character and then make him pink like that.
Yeah.
And Doflamingo was a pink villain, so.
Yeah, that too.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think if Oda wanted to like provide some sort of disarming, like not so over the top evil or menacing qualities to Kaido, he would do it in a different way than that.
We got a call. Well, we had some difficulties with that call. Hopefully they call back. We were talking about pink.
Oh, yeah, dragons.
I just imagine it like the pink elephants from Barney's hallucinations.
See, I was thinking, oh, no pink dragons or anything like that, and that's Madame M's rule in Sword in the Stone when she's doing the Wizard's Duel with Merlin.
Huh. Been a long time since I've seen that film.
Been a long time.
It's one of the forgotten Disney movies.
Yeah, but it's great. I like it.
All right, what else do we got on the Twitter?
All right. Next one comes from YepX, who asks, will there be a plot twist near the end of the series that reveals Rick is actually Morty when he's... Oh, this is for Brian. Okay.
No, let's talk about this. Will there be a plot where Rick is...
Let's limit it to One Piece questions.
Oh, wow. That's very...
it's very specific.
There. Yeah, very specific. Wrong show.
Yep. Next one comes from John Botone on Twitter, and he asks how we would feel about a team up between Don Krieg and Captain Kuro.
Underwhelmed.
Although I will say, if there's anything that Don Krieg needs, it's better strategy.
What would this team name be?
Strongest.
It would be a triple. It would be a triple alliance. So they'd be the black ships, and their third member would be Admiral Perry.
There you go.
Who the hell's Perry?
Historical.
He's the guy who opened up Japan. Yeah,
in the black ships.
Oh.
If you've ever seen the episode of Samurai Champloo where they play baseball.
Oh, God, I love that one.
I would have called them the Black Krieg Pirates, and then I would proceed to go, Black Krieg sucks. Black Krieg sucks. And then they'd embrace it, and then they'd become like the coolest team up ever.
Let's see here. I would call them Team Strong Cat.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, we're getting another call.
Alrighty.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Jack from San Jose, California.
Thanks for calling.
Excited.
What's your question?
Okay, so with the latest developments, I was just wondering if you could give me a percentage of what, if you think that Zoro will actually have a real flashback arc where we learn about how he, about, up to the point that we do know now. Thanks.
Zoro would have his own flashback?
He's not like a proper one, but of all of the main Straw Hat characters, he really has the weakest flashback of all of them. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like the kind of the appeal of the characters that he's sort of this. He's a guy with a very simple backstory and very simple motivations, and although there is the tease of Dragon's ship being docked near his village, and everyone in the dojo is excited about the ship that's in town, except for him, and he's just smacking away on the bamboo swords. I feel like there's more to be explored there. So I think my percentage of it would probably be like 60%, because I could definitely see there not being any more backstory or flashbacks for Zoro, because he's sort of the simple character.
I want to see more of young Zoro, young bounty hunter Zoro. I think he was the same age he was when he left his village with the start of the series, which was 19, right? Yeah, 19. But the anime gave us a little filler episode of how he met Johnny and Yosaku. I don't know how.
Also, movie 5 was basically about his Pirate Hunter days.
But a lot of people give that movie flack because they feel like they didn't, especially with how Zoro became like after Enia's Lobby and Thor Bark, that like Zoro really acted out a character in that movie.
Oh well, I give that movie flack because it's terrible. I
want to see more Zoro with Johnny and Yosaku. I really like Johnny and Yosaku, and I would love to see more of that. Just them worshiping Big Bro. It'd be great.
Yeah, I agree
Cool.
with
I was
Ed.
just thinking that I would like to see Zoro's past, because if the series ended, I would like to say, like, I would like to have seen more of Zoro's past, because the series would have ended. We would have, like, found the One Piece or whatever, and then it'd be like, so what the hell happened to Zoro anyway? Like, it would be a question that would be weird. Like, we don't know anything about it. So that's why I'm asking. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hey, thanks a lot for calling.
Forgot where we were at. I think we just finished the question on Twitter.
I mean, but Steven, you seem to have some thoughts there that you wanted to hear.
Yeah. I do agree with you in the sense that, like, I don't know that there's anything that we could get in a big flashback with Zoro that would, like, necessarily shed light on his character or, like, give him some kind of fresh trauma where it's like, oh my God, like, this is what he's been dealing with all this time. Like, I don't know if that necessarily would work, but I do feel like, compared to the rest of the cast, he was kind of underserved in, like, how much of his background we got to see. And I think there's probably some good, like, storytelling stuff that Oda could find to do with it. It's just a question of, would it be important enough to actually work into the series?
Indeed.
That's all.
Alrighty. Where are we at next?
All right. The next one comes from Eric Morales, Stoked Shores on Twitter. What is it with anime characters not putting their arms through their sleeves? Like Kizaru, Akainu, Whitebeard, Blackbeard.
Crocodile.
It's
a cool Japanese thing.
And also, like, it's all bulky when you're wearing a big fur coat like Crocodile, It's hard to move around.
You ever try wearing a fur coat in the desert?
No. It's so you can have a cape without having to have an extra piece of fabric.
No capes.
Right.
Any other theories?
I got no answer. I think it's a cool Japanese thing.
Yeah. Next one comes from Frank Savaka Jr. And with Bellamy having lost his crew and he says in Skypiea, but he says more generically on Sky Island. So I always wondered if it was a different Sky Island, but that's just my own thing. Do you think that Bellamy will join the Straw Hat Fleet?
Think about that because we're going to add in another call.
Okay.
You're on the One Piece podcast. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Michael Johannes, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Very familiar. Are you going to be going to AWA next weekend?
Probably not.
Dope. Well, now we're just counting on that one roommate to be there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's your question?
I didn't really know. I didn't really expect this to happen.
Well, I don't know. Think about it for a second. We're pretty chill. We're like whatever.
Yeah, just to say though, you have a great microphone. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I have a blue snowball mic.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Very good. Blue quality product.
Do you happen to have a mic shield as well?
A pop filter, yeah.
Oh no, I mean not a pop filter, but the other thing, like it goes behind the mic. I'm basically trying to convince everybody.
Oh yeah. I don't know what that's called, but I don't have it really.
Yeah,
I just have a pop filter.
Well, you sound great.
Yeah. Well, since you can't think of a question, let's ask you a question. If any of the Straw Hats were cars, what kind of cars would they be?
Nice laugh there, Alex. What was that?
Thanks. I practiced.
That was your Sanji laugh.
Yeah.
I think Brooke would be. I don't really know, but one of those really old cars.
Like a Model T.
Yeah. And Nami would be a Mercedes-Benz because it's very pretty.
That's true.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What would Luffy be? Luffy would be a hybrid car because he never runs out of energy.
I can't. That's true. I don't know. I can't see.
These are way better than our answers earlier.
I don't know. I don't know if I could see Luffy as a hybrid. Like I feel like hybrid is all like safe for the environment, like vegetarian, and Luffy's just Mr. Destructive Meat Eater. I don't know if I can see him as a hybrid.
If Eneru were a car, he'd be a Tesla.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, very true. That's very true.
Where is the charging station? What? You don't have a Tesla charging station here in Nebraska?
Wait a second. I am a charging station.
Yeah, exactly.
Luffy's a giant freezer truck full of meat.
That's pretty funny.
I like it.
So are you guys ready for the chapter this week?
I reckon so. Or next week.
It's this week, right? It's Thursday.
It's a week from today. No, well, legally it's.
They went on break. Oh, legally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They went on break last week, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Chapter 800 is going to be a big one, but thanks for calling in. Even if you didn't have a question, it's always good to hear from.
I guess I'd ask something.
You got 5 seconds.
Who are your favorite Straw Hats?
Sanji.
Zoro? Mine's Luffy.
Robin.
Zoro.
Zoro? Okay. You guys are some Zoro fans, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I've been consistent about that for a long time.
Yeah, I really like Luffy.
Yeah, well, it's hard to not like Luffy. If you don't like Luffy, why don't you get the hell out?
Yeah, he's about my age, I guess. We're both like, I'm 18, he's 17, and we're both pretty similar. And I guess we both have the same mentality.
Just going around not giving a fuck. That's
pretty much, yeah.
Sticking up for your friends. Yeah. Good times, man.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
No problem.
See you guys later, and have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. Oh. And actually, that question from Frank was our last Twitter question as well. So I think it's about time to round off the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Zoro.
世界中の海を股にかけてゆく雄たけび上げて心が晴れたら出発の合図を響かせゆこう
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 385 for the week of Monday, September 14th, 2015. And this was our call-in show. We had another call-in show, and I think it went pretty well. Right, guys? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Got a lot of questions. I'm surprised no one really had anything like, hey, I got something to say about Chapter 800. No, it was kind of more just, let me think of something interesting for the guys. But still appreciate it. I thought we had a lot of good questions this time. One Piece characters as cars, I think that was like the theme of this call-in show. You get a brand new One Piece car! And it's like one of the characters in the car.
Or it could be like all the One Piece characters as Pillarmen from Part 2 of JoJo's Cars.
That's a stretch, but I get it nonetheless. Just to recap some things that are coming up, the Small Press Expo is coming up in Bethesda, Maryland this weekend. You can see podcast members The Dude, Alex, and Joey Weiser. They will be there. If you're a big fan of comics, definitely check out that show. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best indie comic cons around, and you can find some great books and great artists that you may have never heard about, and you'll walk out there with some really cool stuff. Highly recommend that if you're into that and you're in the Maryland area. And of course, we have Anime Weekend Atlanta next weekend in, of course, Atlanta, Georgia. I will be there. Joey, of course, will be there. Doc will be there, and Jose will be there. That's your starting lineup for One Piece Podcast Anime Weekend Atlanta experience. And that's really it. That's all we got going on. That's all we got to plug, right?
Well, we got upcoming episodes of OPP Dallas will be out soon-ish. They're coming.
The One Piece read-through will be returning very shortly once Zach joins us again, and we're doing Dressrosa, and that's it. That puts an end to the read-through. I'm sure that's been quite an experience for a lot of us, and of course a lot of the listeners as well.
Especially Zach and I, because we were the ones who were really in the thick of it every week with the keeping up with it, and it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And now that Dressrosa really is over, we can go back and revisit it.
I fell off the wagon. I'm still reading stuff way back, but I've been meaning to reread the manga, so I've been enjoying that. What else? Endless Schmaltz. We are still putting out new episodes of Endless Schmaltz. We had some problems putting out the new episode on the website, but if you do listen on SoundClouds, it is on there. Hopefully we'll get that resolved, and hopefully we get a little more consistent. We do apologize with the release schedules with the One Piece read through and Zach taking a little vacation and leaving things on us when they're like, oh God, what did Daddy Zach? How did he used to do this? So I do apologize for the wait, but those will be coming out again very shortly. And that's all. I think that's all we really have to plug. Of course, the dude, Alex, was on earlier. He has stepped out, but we'd like to thank him for coming on today. And Steven, of course, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on this non-manga chapter episode.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rare occasion for me, but if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Translatosaurus. Also, those of you who are Shonen Jump subscribers may have noticed in the next issue preview of today's issue, they have some upcoming Bakuman one-shots, and I translated them, so you'll be getting a little bit of Bakuman with your chapter 800 next week. So that was fun, and there'll be 2 of those, so 2 issues. So look forward to that.
Great, awesome. Well, of course, we are the One Piece podcast. You could contact us at, well, of course, our website. That's onepiecepodcast.com. Of course, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. If there's other stuff too. Sorry, guys. I'm not used to
SoundCloud.
Thank you, sir. Yes, SoundCloud. What else is there?
Stitcher. There's the Stitcher Smart Radio app.
Stitcher Smart Radio app. Yes, thank you, kind stranger.
Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr.
Yeah, those 2. And of course, you could always email us. We take piece together questions on our Gmail. It's
onepiecepodcast@gmail.com.
onepiecepodcast@gmail.com. Yes, thank you. And also we have our own subreddit now. It's
reddit.com/r/onepiecepodcast. Steve, you remember we just opened that up.
Wow, this guy's really good. We should get you to host this show sometime.
Doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it shouldn't have a stranger host this show.
No.
And of course, you could call us on our phone number. Oh wait, that's not my line.
You can call us on our phone number, Zach.
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, your comments, and your theories, and wonder where I've been, send those as well. Thank you guys for doing some hosting duty while I was gone.
Oh, Daddy song.
I've been here the whole time.
It was just testing us.
I hope.
I'm sorry to tell you that. I heard all of the terrible things you said about me.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
So, for the One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
See you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But my name is Steve.
Is it still going?
Can you name the truck with 4-wheel drive? Smells like a steak and seats 35. Frankyonero. Well, it goes real slow.
Joe's Crematorium. You snuff 'em. We stuff 'em. Wait, that's not a crematorium. That's a taxidermy. Hi. One Piece Podcast.
Hi.
Who is this? Where are you from?
Hey, it's Roger's base. Roger. I'm from Los Angeles. And I'm actually just calling in. Yeah.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, it's Dude.
What's going on, everyone?
It's Dude, and Zach is here, and also Steve. We actually stopped doing calls, but we decided to take them anyway.
We were gonna just.
That's actually that's really lucky on my end. Then I guess that's great.
Yeah.
How's it going, Roger? What's up?
Good. So my big question that I actually have for you guys, the main reason I wanted to call in was, I don't know if you've discussed this already or if you discussed this in this episode, but I'm really curious who you guys think Green Bull, who is obviously the other admiral that was brought in with the draft, which Japanese actor do you think Green Bull is going to be based on?
Wow.
And I just kind of wanted to hear your opinions on that, if you have any opinions on it.
We need Joey for this. This is a Joey.
One of our first callers actually had some predictions, I think.
He said that he predicted that it'd be Toshiro Mifune.
That's actually off. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be pretty cool. We mentioned that it would be like, it'd be weird though if he was a swordsman character, because Fujitora is a swordsman character, and that'd be sort of dipping into the same well. But who knows? Mifune would be pretty awesome and a little on the nose, but still really awesome.
He would be really awesome.
I'd be really down for that, actually.
Yeah, Mifune was actually the choice that I was going to go with, in this call. So that's good to know that other people are sort of on the same wavelength. But one other person that I haven't really seen brought up that often, which is kind of surprising to me, is and I cannot think of his name off the top of my head, but the series that Fujitora is based on, the actor in the series that Fujitora is based on. Do you guys know the name of the series offhand? Yes. So the guy who plays the quote-unquote bad guy, and I think in 3 or 4 of them, who basically has the battle with him and then decides not to kill the other guy. I'm doing a horrible job of explaining the plot, but basically,
I'm looking it up as you speak.
Yeah. So if you go back and you watch the old Zatoichi films, there's one in which he has the main character of Zatoichi has this sword fight with this other quote-unquote, like I said, bad guy character. And when the two of them are fighting, at the end of the fight, even though he could have killed him, he could have killed Zatoichi, the guy refuses because Zatoichi decided instead to take out one of the henchmen that was going to take out the mother and child that was related to the guy who the other guy was hired to take out. It's a really good movie. I'd recommend anybody who has not seen that one. I wish I knew the name of it off the top of my head, but I think he'd be another great choice because that could really play off of Fujitora, ancient Japan, potentially if he's going to be there in Wano country, if that happens to be the next arc that we get to, if we don't have a Zoe before then. I just thought it'd be a kind of a cool connection.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Has he done 2 characters from the same series before? This is not my forte.
Bunta Sugawara and the guy. Well, actually, all 3 original admirals are all from the Truckyauto series, and Joey would elaborate if he were here.
Yeah. So then that would be a really cool thing to have the new admirals kind of all interconnected like that as well.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
I'm always pro any Akira Kurosawa characters, but
I think it'd be interesting. Mifune would be a really, really good choice, I think. If he were going to be dipping into the same well, Fujitora could have been Mifune, and Ryokugyu could have been Koji Tsuruta, who played so in the Samurai trilogy, which is the 3 movies based off of the story of Musashi Miyamoto. Mifune plays Miyamoto, Musashi, and Tsuruta plays Sasaki Kojiro, and they're rivals. And I think that would have been a cool thing for both of them.
Which actor is that? Which Zatoichi is Fujitora based off of again?
What do you mean? The older one, because the newer one is Takeshi
Shintaro Katsu.
It's the one with the guy with the cane sword.
Yeah, it's Shintaro.
I think it's Shintaro. Yeah.
Okay, I might be too far back. I'm using Wikipedia right now to try and figure this out.
No, it's not him. It's
I see who it is. It's probably no, he's the same. This is the same guy.
No, yeah, it's.
It might be him. Yeah, he's in a lot of the Zatoichis. It's got to be him. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is Shintaro Katsu.
This is not.
Well, the only other person to have played him is Beat Takeshi.
Yeah.
And that was fairly recently. It was 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, the 2003, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to watch all these. I've only watched, I think, 1 or 2 of them.
They're really, really good. I highly suggest, if you want to do just a purge and you just want to watch a bunch, and in one day you're doing some work and you want something in the background, they're great. They're really, really good.
It's on Hulu, right? I think a lot of them.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also buy the Criterion, the Criterion box set. It's got all 26 movies.
Yeah, I got to do that. Didn't Oda
on Amazon? They have it on Amazon for $110 right now.
Did Oda draw the box art for that, or am I thinking of another series? I think
you're thinking of another series, but I'm not completely positive which one it was.
I'm mixing all this stuff up right now.
But Oda did do box art.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Roger, for calling in for this surprise call-in that's probably at the very end of the show. So thank you.
Yeah, well, perfect. I'm glad I could close it out for you guys. All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, keep up your good work there, Roger.
This has been the one.
I'll hit the crab juice.